We have Kelly Price speaking tonight. She is a registered dietitian. She's been the food service director for Donegal School District for the past 3 years, with 6 total years of experience at other districts. Serving the kids is Kelly's true passion. She loves to combine her culinary degree and expertise in nutrition to provide exciting and healthy meals for the students during the day. She's also the chapter president for the local school nutrition association in Lancaster County called Red Rose Chapter 19. And today she's going to talk a little bit about Donegal's COVID meal distribution.
All right, good evening, everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I've never done a screen sharing before, so I'm going to give this my best shot. I have a PowerPoint presentation today, so let me see if I can get the screen share to work. And where did it go?
Let's see, if you hover over the bottom with your mouse, there you go.
There we go. Okay. Now I just need to get to there we go. And the presentation mode. Okay, I think we got it. All right, so as Alyssa said, my name is Kelly Price. I am the food service director for Donegal School District. And like everyone, we had to scramble to figure out the COVID procedures and policies and just kind of find our way through this. So we did a feeding plan where we knew we couldn't feed the kids in a brick and mortar type setting, but we wanted to make sure that the students were still able to get the meals that they normally get or close to it outside of the school day during the COVID closure. Donegal School District, just a little bit of an overview. We are a self-operational program. That basically means that, yes, we are housed in a school. However, we are separate from the actual district. We are not a management company by any means. All of our employees are district employees. Basically, the easiest way to explain is our money doesn't mix. So the cafeteria has its own bank account, and then the general fund where your school taxes and things like that would accumulate to be used for other things like books and things for the students, that's a whole separate fund. So the cafeteria does not use any of that money. We have approximately 40 employees, all district employees, that feed about 3,000 students daily. We participate in the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program. We have an average participation of 70% of our kids do eat lunch every day on a daily basis, which we're very proud of. The national average is only about 44%. On a normal year between breakfast and lunch, we serve approximately 413,500 meals for the school year. We do participate in multiple other programs such as Farm to School or PA Preferred Day. We do scratch cook when we can. We always laugh. We say we still have some frozen pizza and chicken patties and chicken nuggets, but we do make our own beef stroganoff and pasta sauces, and we still cook taco meat from the raw stages and raw turkey. So we do have still put the love in there as well. Our cafeteria high school has over 9 choices every day for our students to choose from. So we have kind of like a food court set up, which is really nice. And the kids really have a great time picking the fresh made paninis or pizzas or whatever choice that they'd like for that day. And the number one thing is we do really love to feed our kids. So we knew when this happened with the COVID overview, basically we were going to be shut down. So we had to find a way to get the food to the students. So PDE is the Pennsylvania Department of Education. They have a division in food and nutrition. Started to say we could operate as a seamless summer option, which means normally you wouldn't operate this type of program during the school year. You would only have it during the summer. However, they gave a waiver that we would be able to do it during the school year since schools were now closed. I don't think anyone has ever seen this happen. So it was kind of, we all have to kind of feel our way through it and kind of figure it out. We did a lot of reading on regulations over that weekend to try and figure out how fast we could get up and running. There were multiple feeding options available. We could start as early as 3/17, which was back when COVID first happened. And I have to say we were proud that we only missed 1 day of meal service and we were up and running. We do have about a 40% population for free and reduced. That's about 1,200 of our students are on the free and reduced meal program. So we definitely know there is a need out there for us to make sure we could keep going. Basically, there was a couple catches, as there always is with any kind of federal and government funding. We had to find a way to make these meals be reimbursable and in order to be eligible. So basically what this means is we would serve the students lunches and breakfast. We have to make sure the state says, yes, this is what you can serve, and yes, we'll refund you that money. So in order to do that, they have something called area eligibility. Because we were not over 50% free and reduced, we had to use this map type system. So we were able to use the map and find an orange area in the site, which would mean that we could feed everyone. If the site was orange, we could feed any child in any district 18 years and younger. If we decided we weren't going to feed in an orange area, then we were only allowed to feed the kids that were on the free and reduced program, and we'd have to turn the others away. We did not want to do that. We wanted to make sure we could feed everyone. So what we did, we found orange locations. So our buildings were not in the 50% range, so we had to find some place that would allow us to serve lunches. So the very first location we found was the Marietta War Memorial Park, and we used the back parking lot of the Donegal Intermediate School District to kind of use as our drive-through. And the Janus School parking lot was very nice and let us use their area as well, which was also located in orange. About a couple weeks into it, around April 10th, the state came back and said, okay, well, doesn't look like we're opening anytime soon, and there's really a huge need, and people are out of work. Forget the orange part. Just find a place to serve lunch and, bring the meals to the kids. So, which is really nice because we were packing up box trucks and moving, 5,000 meals at a time to different areas like the Janus School, which is very hard to keep in a non-refrigerated item. So we were doing a lot of back and forth shuttling. So once we got the new waiver, we moved to Donegal Intermediate with the front pickup car loop, and we moved to the high school pickup area. Just to show you how difficult it is to find somewhere orange, this is a map of Marietta, and that little blue teal dot there that you can see is our address at Donegal Intermediate School. There is that tiny little bit of orange in all of Marietta to find a spot to serve lunch the first time around. So that's where we had to combine the parking lot work mixed with War Memorial Park, and really had to do some research to find where we were going to put these sites. Here you can see, this is the high school. We are literally in the middle of all gray. There was no orange anywhere close to the high school. So that's where you can see up on Main Street there in Mount Joy, we were able to hit that very edge for Janus School. And up in the blue and orange is mostly Etown and Manheim Central school districts. So we were trying to stay kind of in our area, but still within the orange range. Once we got the waiver, that we then were able to move back to our buildings. But it wasn't as easy as we thought it would be to find something orange. So then we had to advertise the community, because if nobody comes to pick up the lunches and doesn't know what's happening, we aren't able to receive any reimbursement. So we created flyers. This is just one of the examples that we had. And we tried to make it as user-friendly as possible. We had them put into Spanish, we had them in English, we had them posted on Facebook pages and Twitter, any way to get the lunch there. Initially, the waiver stated that you must have the student in the car with you to order to pick up the meals. So anyone 18 years and younger, any district, didn't matter, as long as the child was in the car. We weren't even taking any names down. There was a waiver that came later, late April, early May, that said the child doesn't have to be in the car as long as you give us their name and district. We can write it down and for documentation, but initially they had to be in the car. So we decided we started off doing meal distribution 5 days a week, and we moved down to 2 days a week. It just got to be too much. We didn't want to have as much contact, and we wanted to be as hands off as possible. Right when the virus first started, we didn't know how it was spreading. We didn't want our cafeteria staff out there, with 800 cars a day. It just wasn't really practicing social distancing. So initially we did do Monday through Friday, and about after the first week, we figured out that more of a Monday, Wednesday distribution would be better. Monday would cover Monday's meals through Wednesday, and Wednesday we would hand out meals to cover through Friday. So just another example of what our flyers looked like there. And we updated them weekly so people knew what was going on. There was a couple other, hiccups that came along. Seamless summer feeding, you must sit in a congregate setting, which with social distancing, you're not supposed to have hundreds of people coming and sitting down to eat a meal. So once again, there was a new waiver that it seemed like every day there was a new waiver, but they said, okay, well, you guys can do a drive up type scenario. The cars can come through and drive up and pick up their meals. So that was really reassuring and helpful. We were kind of just popping people's trunks. Some people would leave their passenger side window down. Some people would open up their car door. And that's how we were putting the meals into the vehicles. We did get approved for the new site because we were not approved for summer feeding. And a couple of the other like regulations as far as the food, we had to include milk with every meal. Normally during the school year, offer versus serve is a way that we say we don't fill trash cans. We allow the kids to kind of pick and choose what they want. Some kids may not like hot vegetables and they only like cold vegetables. So instead of just putting green beans on their plate, we let them choose between the cherry tomatoes, the carrots, the green beans, the tossed salad that day, and then they can pick and choose what they want. In this scenario, everything had to go into the bag and they weren't allowed to have any choices. So that was a little bit different for us. We had to document and complete all of our meal count documentation, meaning counting how many students come and pick up the meals. And then we had to submit it to the state for reimbursement back to the program to pay for the food to be able to be reimbursed. So a couple pictures of what our traffic control looked like. That was the first pictures of the Janus school there. We had some big tents we would put up and kind of a box truck to move the food around. At DIS, we had the same type of a tent, but it was in the back of the parking lot. So we used carts to wheel the food in and out of the refrigerator. And the parents just drove up and we added them to the car. We had, there's a picture of Mr. Thrush there, our principal at the intermediate school. He was great for traffic control and helping us. The teachers all kind of volunteered to stand and direct cars and explain things to people. So we had a lot of support and a lot of help. The kids could drive if they were old enough in the high school. They could be in a car with a parent. They could ride their bikes to pick up meals. They could walk. When we were located at the Janus School, we saw a lot of kids from Manheim Central that walked from that back development back there. I would say we didn't see quite as many once we moved to the high school, but we did see quite a few when we were at Janus. The types of meals that could be served during this COVID feeding, you were allowed to choose up to 2. Breakfast, it could have been breakfast, a snack, either AM or PM, a lunch or a dinner type feeding. We decided on doing breakfast and lunch. We figured that was the most food that we could hand out that way and get the most food to the kids. The snack was kind of not as many components, and you can't do lunch and supper. You had to do one meal and one snack, or breakfast and lunch was allowed to kind of be combined. But if you did breakfast, you had to do supper. So we did breakfast and lunch. We thought that the kids got the most food that way, and we were able to get things out to them. Meal pattern requirements, it had to meet the regular nutritional standards for the school lunch and breakfast program. We had to do menu planning. We had to meet, the production records had to be kept. It had to be a complete reimbursable meal. It had to include milk at each meal service, had to be between the hours of 10 and 2. We did not do offer versus serve. We were able to use a lot of our commodity foods, which was really nice. We did keep our separate meal counts from what we already did for the previous year. And we had to create a method of communicating, which we basically used School Messenger, Facebook, Twitter, as much as we could kind of get it out there. These are just a couple pictures from our meal distribution. We tried to make it fun. We had some costumes and we had some sound cones, and we were playing some music for the kids when they came up. It was nice just to see their faces. We really missed the kids, and you know, a lot of the ladies know them all by name. So it was great to see them pull up and be like, "Hey, Johnny, it's great to see you." And they just loved seeing the ladies. We do have one gentleman, so I should say ladies and one gentleman. We did have a problem with storage. As you can see, our coolers were completely packed between bags and cartons of milk. Storing 5,000 meals at a clip to get rid of was really a hard thing for us. We did a lot of packing and storage. We had about 14 employees that decided to come in to help. So we were able to pack everything and for those 3 days and then get it all kind of in a system. We struggled for a while to get paper bags. So as you can see on the right, there's plastic bags we had to resort to until more supplies would come in. When it first happened, a lot of the suppliers weren't able to, keep up. We did have a couple challenges. We just needed approval from township and parks and other locations. It wasn't hard. It just took a little bit longer to get. We had to be careful with off-site temperature control. And we did a lot of batch cooking, just like we always do. You know, we don't make anything at 10 o'clock in the morning that's served at 1:30 to the same students. We make things every 15 minutes in school. So we were just using a delivery van to deliver the meals back and forth to make sure they stayed, you know, within the right temperature ranges and things. We were very proud that we turned no child away. You know, we never ran out of food. We did not waste any food. We did not throw anything away. We've served different districts, many children, anybody who was 18 years and younger. We were able to be operational just one day after the closure. We had some amazing cafeteria staff and ladies and gentlemen who came in every day and just took it day by day. You know, every day was kind of a new day, just kind of like we're all kind of dealing with in the real world, but everything they're used to doing, we'd come in and say, no, there's a new waiver, we're going to do it another way. And they just took it all in stride. The teachers and principals were great. They helped come out for traffic control. You know, the kids really enjoyed seeing their teachers. It kept everybody's spirits up. We ended up serving a total of 77,300 meals. We really were hoping to hit 100,000, but we're very proud of that 77,300. We're probably one of the higher ones in the county. There was a couple people I know that went a little longer than we did, so they were able to, you know, get their numbers up as well. But we were very proud of that number. And we were able to provide meals the whole way from March 17th to June 5th to the families. We did try to make it fun. So we did have multiple different, you know, costumes. Some of the kids would try to guess what we were going to be in the next day for our costumes. We had great community support. Without the community, they wouldn't, and not coming, we wouldn't have been able to be as successful as we were. The kids drew us really great little cards. We actually made them into some shadow boxes. And for the ladies in the fall and gentlemen, I'm going to put them up in each of the buildings, kind of as a reminder of something really cool that they did in 2020. So it's kind of their surprise for the fall. So we've been collecting all of those and getting them ready. We do have a Facebook page, so if you'd like to follow us or like us on Facebook, it's Donegal School Food Service. We do try to post and update pictures of what we're doing within the cafeteria. We're just actually putting up something today about where you can find summer food, you know, all summer long and what locations. We weren't able to stay going quite as long as some of the other districts due to our percent of free and reduced, but other districts are able to go all summer. That's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
That was great. Make sure you guys unmute yourself if you want to ask a question, because we did mute individuals during the presentation.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
You said that the meals were reimbursable. Who's reimbursing?
So everything for the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program goes through a reimbursement process. It's half state, half federal reimbursed. So we receive money from two different entities. So it's the USDA, and then PDE kind of like facilitates that. So the money we get from the state is a much smaller percentage than what we get from the federal government, but they kind of mix together as one reimbursement amount that helps to pay for the food each year. Same thing of like our government commodity food that comes in, but it's no different than what we would serve during the school year and how we would receive funds.
Thank you.
It's approximately, I'm trying to think, it's probably about per meal that you get more in the summer as reimbursement. I want to say maybe around $3.80-ish per meal, that like for breakfast and lunch together. And then there's a different program, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this, it's called the PEBT program, that's also happening this summer. And that's for any child that was on free and reduced after the schools closed or also receiving funds, but it's not through the cafeteria. That's through actually like through where like cash assistance through the welfare office and things would happen, but it's not like school-based, if that makes sense. Everything with government funding is complicated.
I was surprised to hear that you said that in the beginning, like the students had to be with or in the car when all they were telling us was to stay home. Like,
Yep.
I mean,
That was waiver one. Yeah, at first they had to be in the car. We were supposed to be as touchless contact as possible. Some people decided to put a table out and put all the food on the table. Parents had to park the car, get out of the car, go get the food and put it back in the car. I kind of looked at that saying, well, now we got more people congregating around the table. I'd rather almost just reach and like try to put it in the car window, as they're driving by. So we tried to make it as contactless as possible. But at first, yeah, the kids had to be in the car. And then I want to say it was like maybe toward the beginning of April, mid-April, they did away with that. And they said, you can just write the kids' names down. But we had people coming with 8 and 10 kids. It had to be first name, last name, grade, and district. The parents were like, it's just easier to put them all in the car. So we actually didn't have that many that didn't.
Kelly, I was wondering if you could share a story or two about the impact that you made upon the families.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I realized what kind of an impact it would make, but it really hits home when you see those people in the car talking to you and they're like, you have no idea how much this helps our grocery bill. And you have no idea I never realized how expensive it is to feed the kids while they're home. I know in the summer your grocery bill goes way up because everybody wants snacks and things, they're constantly in the refrigerator. And they were like, all the fresh fruit and things that you're sending home, we tried our best to send fresh pears, clementines, apples. We did baked potatoes at one point. We tried to send stuff that was more shelf stable that the parents could use for cooking. We got baked potatoes, I'm not kidding, that were like this big. They could have fed like a family of 4. We didn't think they were going to hold in the bags. We were very surprised by those, but we tried to send things that, would really help the families. And they were we never had one negative comment. People were so grateful. I wish that we were a higher free and reduced percentage for our district that we could have kept going. I know there's a lot of things right now with the food bank and handing out boxes and things like that we could have helped with, but we were we hover around that 38 to 40% where we're just not quite high enough to qualify for other programs, unfortunately. But I'm really glad they did the PEBT program for families because each child got about $370 per kid from when school closed to the end of school that came on like an EBT card that they're able to use at the grocery store. So hopefully that's helping families now as well.
Not the question, but I just think that's awesome because I know, a lot of people during that time were also laid off work, and I've read about long, long waits for unemployment. So that's just awesome that they were able to feed their kiddos during that.
It was really nice. And we were just blown away by the support of everyone coming. People shared it. We were able to kind of get the word out there and have people come, which was I was really afraid the first day nobody would show up. But we were able to, keep going, and we saw approximately 800 cars a day.
Wow.
So that was, some cars had 1 kid, the most we ever had was 10. It was in like a Sprinter van. All one family, 10
That's
kids.
great. All right.
I can't imagine that grocery bill.
Well, Kelly, thank you. That's an amazing program, and I'm so amazed at the way you guys turned that around so quickly, and we're able to provide such an asset to our community and help people through this time. It's amazing. So congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.